You know that feeling when a comedian doesn't just tell a joke, but they manage to hold up this giant mirror to a cultural moment?
Mm-hmm.
Humor that's so spot on, so observational that it stops being just satire and starts to feel like, I don't know, real cultural commentary.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Well, that is exactly where we're going today. We are diving into the world of comedian Druski and specifically his incredible talent for taking these massive high production environments, in this case, the modern megachurch, and just turning them into absolute comedic gold.
Right, and we've gone through the sources you sent over all the analysis and the articles on this viral skit. And our mission today is really to get past the laughter.
Okay.
We want to pull out the real cultural insights that are buried in his humor, to understand why this parody connected with millions of people and what it's really critiquing about, the modern mix of faith and performance.
Yeah, we're looking at how this one piece of comedy starts this really thoughtful discussion about performance, about religion's role today, and of course the massive influence of social media on, well, everything.
Our goal is to give you a shortcut to understanding the why behind the virality.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So I think we have to start at the ground level with the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Because the spectacle is where he builds the entire foundation of the joke.
Totally.
Druski, he immediately puts on this very specific persona. The super charismatic, high-energy celebrity pastor. He has the whole presentation down perfectly.
It's all about the look and the feel, isn't it? He gets the physical presence right, the tailored suit, that headset mic you see everywhere, and maybe the most important part, that voice.
Well, the voice.
That like a booming vocal fry he uses, the one that makes every single word sound like it's some urgent, life-changing revelation just for you.
Yes. It's a very specific style of communication, and it's all designed for maximum impact in a huge room.
Or on a screen.
Or on a screen, exactly. And the main observation that comes out of all the analysis is that the entire environment he creates, it feels way more like a live arena concert or maybe a high-stakes motivational seminar than what you'd call a traditional worship service.
Everything is amplified.
Everything. Elevated is the perfect word. The analysis points out how he pushes every single element to the extreme. He basically redefines the roles of everyone involved.
Let's talk about the choir.
Okay, the choir. They are not just there to sing harmonies, no. They're presented very clearly as the hype squad.
Yeah.
Their role is all about motion. It's kinetic. It's designed to build up this collective energy, this emotional fervor that's almost impossible to not get swept up in. They're basically managing the emotional temperature of the room.
So you're saying the congregation is like a concert audience and the choir is the backup dance team. But I mean, isn't intense spiritual passion supposed to be loud and energetic? Is he being unfair, or is there a real, like, choreographed expectation there?
Well, that's the tension the satire gets at.
Yeah.
The humor works because we all recognize the choreography of it, the production value.
Right.
In the skit, the choir has coordinated movements. They have specific call and response shouts. It's all synchronized. Their purpose is clearly to generate that high energy, so the audience has no choice but to follow along. It's a very meticulously staged performance loop.
Okay, so if they're the hype squad, that changes what the ushers are doing too.
Of course. They're not just, politely showing people to their seats or passing a collection plate. They become stagehands or security.
Managing the crowd.
Exactly. Managing the flow, keeping the energy high, and getting ready for the next big moment in the show.
And the congregation is just playing their part.
They're playing their part perfectly. When the pastor leans in, the crowd reacts. When the music swells, the hands go up in this huge wave. Druski's genius is showing you this complete merger of religious practice with, modern high-gloss performance culture.
He takes the aesthetic of a stadium tour, the lights, the sound, the crowd control, and just drops it right into a sanctuary.
And that takes us deeper into the real critique. The power of this humor, what makes it so resonant, is that it's based entirely on observational accuracy.
It's funny because it's true.
It's funny because it's true. When you look at the sources, they all connect the dots. Modern U.S. megachurches have grown so much in scale, and, this is the critical part, in production value.
I mean, we are talking about venues that have the kind of tech and budgets that could rival a major touring band.
Absolutely. Professional staging, giant LED screens, incredibly tight live bands, sophisticated sound mixing for broadcast.
And Druski just takes that reality and cranks the volume all the way up.
That's the definition of great satire, right?
Yeah.
Take what's real and just put it under a magnifying glass. He has these over-the-top dramatic vocal riffs from the singers, the pure theatricality of the sermon, and of course the very specific appeals for money.
Oh, yeah. And the content of the sermon itself is so telling. It's not about, deep doctrinal teaching. It's almost all catchy motivational slogans.
That is such a crucial observation. The language he's parodying is all about immediate personal concepts. Breakthrough, elevation, abundance.
One of the buzzwords.
All of them. He uses those super popular self-help phrases that just blur the line between traditional theology and personal life coaching.
He absolutely nails those phrases. Like, this is your season to level up your blessing, or you are due for exponential growth.
Yeah.
It feels less like a scripture lesson and more like a high-energy pep rally that's designed to make you feel great and maybe a little financially pressured.
Exactly. And that pressure, that motivational atmosphere, that brings us right to the money, the business of it all.
Right.
Because when you talk about this level of production value, you are talking about serious corporate-level costs. And here's where it gets really interesting. Druski does not let the economic engine of this operation slide. He portrays the church very explicitly as a business enterprise.
He's got a laser focus on the revenue side of things. The analysis points out how the pastor in the skit talks about the church like a CEO. He's talking branding, expansion plans, monetization.
He shows you the mechanics of it. The merch tables, the branded T-shirts, the books, the wristbands, all with the church logo. And then there's the act of giving itself. The satire really hones in on the hyper-modern, app-based tithing systems.
The idea that you can just swipe for your blessing instantly. It's not this contemplative act of dropping an envelope in a plate anymore. It's just a transaction.
It's a transaction. It prioritizes convenience and tech over contemplation. And this all connects back to a public conversation that's been going on for years about wealth accumulation among certain high-profile pastors.
It's the elephant in the room. Druski's exaggeration taps right into that real-world criticism of leaders with private jets and luxury homes, all funded by their congregations.
The spectacle of worship becomes impossible to separate from the spectacle of wealth, especially when they're both on a giant LED screen.
The satire is at its most powerful when it exposes that tension. The tension between running a spiritual mission and an aggressive, corporate, revenue-driven business.
Exactly. When the pastor's talking about leveling up, you as the viewer are left wondering, are we talking about my spiritual life or are we talking about the building fund? That's the question the parody forces you to ask.
And I think that tension is why it became a viral phenomenon, not just a funny sketch.
What's fascinating here is just how fast it exploded. The immediate widespread recognition proves it's working as real cultural satire, not just some fictional absurd joke.
People saw themselves or their churches in it.
Yes. If you read the comments, people aren't saying, wow, that's so unrealistic. They're saying, I have been to this exact church. The recognition for that demographic is instant.
I know that feeling is the key to virality. And the platform itself matters. I mean, this skit is perfectly built for how younger people on social media engage with content.
It's made for it. For a lot of young people, their exposure to religious ideas comes from viral clips, memes, parody videos, things designed to be shared in a second. Druski's skit fits right into that ecosystem. It uses humor as this super efficient way to spark recognition and, more importantly, conversation about commercialized religion.
The joke is the entry point to the real discussion. And we have to talk about the music. The sound design is a huge part of the satire.
It amplifies it dramatically. Modern megachurch music isn't subtle. It's a really sophisticated mix of gospel, R&B, pop production. It's professionally arranged.
So when Druski's choir starts singing, it's meant to hit you like a top 40 pop song.
Absolutely. The choir in the skit is deliberately theatrical, over the top, and the audio mix itself sounds exactly like a live concert recording. It's got heavy reverb, compression. It's pure commentary on how worship music has embraced the language of mainstream entertainment.
It's an auditory experience designed for a massive emotional peak.
Yeah, that's it.
But let's circle back to what makes this work so broadly, the critical distinction. What is Druski not targeting here?
And this is probably the most important point for you to take away. He very carefully avoids mocking core religious beliefs. He's not making fun of personal faith.
Right.
He's not criticizing theology or genuine spiritual devotion at all.
He's not telling you what to believe. He's critiquing the high-gloss package that belief is being delivered in.
Precisely. The satire's targets are the performative excess, the corporate aesthetics, and the obvious commercialization of it all. Yeah. And that distinction is why people who actually attend these churches, people with deep faith, can still laugh at the absurdity of it.
Because their faith isn't the punchline.
Their faith isn't being attacked. It's a critique of the packaging, not the message itself. And that's what allows the humor to bridge these different groups. People who love the energy of a megachurch and people who are deeply cynical about the economics of it can both find common ground here.
They both recognize the exaggeration.
And the final piece is that the whole thing exists within the digital culture it's commenting on. The modern megachurch lives on social media, on live streams, on broadcasts. So Druski stages his skit to look and feel just like one of those professional digital broadcasts.
He's commenting on the platform by mastering the platform.
Yeah, exactly right. He gets that the modern church is a multi-platform content provider. And the ultimate irony, the thing that brings it full circle, is that the skit itself becomes a global viral hit on the very platforms he is satirizing. It just proves his point that today, all institutions, in some way, have to become content creators to stay relevant.
So what does this all mean? Our deep dive into Druski's skit, I think, it really shows us how modern comedy can capture a huge cultural evolution. His work isn't just observational, it's an efficient shortcut to understanding how major institutions, even spiritual ones, are adapting to the demands of the entertainment age.
I agree. We've seen that the skit entertains, it sparks debate, and it continues this ancient tradition of comedians observing institutions and magnifying their quirks. But Druski's version is completely current. He recognizes this unique modern aesthetic, the full merging of high-end entertainment production and spiritual practice into one highly curated spectacle.
It's just amazing how effective a short video can be at holding that mirror up for millions of people to see instantly.
It is. And that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to consider, building on everything we've talked about. While Druski's skit focuses on religious institutions, this pattern of comedy challenging our institutions is timeless. So what other major institutions, think about politics or corporate finance or higher education, what other institutions do you see being most effectively satirized today through this kind of short-form digital content? And how does the fast, visual, easily digestible nature of platforms like TikTok or Instagram change the very nature of the lasting impact of the critique itself? Something for you to chew on until the next deep dive.